Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Wanna bet?
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Okay, good morning. Steve Dangle wrapped up his final video for Sportsnet. When's that drop?
I don't know, actually. Today, I hope.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Wow.
that is it. I don't know.
How's it feel?
It's the Dang It Awards. We do the biggest
Dangies?
Dangits of the year. The Dangies, the Dang It Awards. I don't know what we're calling it.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you got lots of time to figure that out.
Yeah, well, you know, no, that's producer Nick's problem.
With
now.
only days left.
This is his problem now. No, yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird.
9 years.
Made a lot of good shit.
Yeah.
There. But I want to dedicate myself full time to this.
That's why you're wearing the jersey.
That's why I'm wearing the jersey.
Love that.
Gosh darn it. It's a handsome jersey.
Is ice surfing still your biggest success over there?
Thank you.
I'm asking.
Do you want to start ice surfing at
Ooh.
SDPN?
My biggest probably trade trees.
Ice surfing. Yeah.
I don't know. Dang It's and Hapix did extremely well, and Trade Trees did as well. But Dang It's were more popular and regular than Trade Trees, so I'd say probably Dang It's. Like that regularly hit 6 digits
Yeah.
every week. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Dangus was great.
It was.
Yeah.
You don't know what you got to
Adam, we should definitely bring over ice surfing.
Well, here's the thing. How do you do ice surfing without the rights to the game?
I've said it before. We get Steve to recreate the plays.
Oh, we just have Steve
live
And then it was like,
while
and
the
then it
games are happening. You and I will host ice.
I like
surfing,
that. I like
and then when we cut to the games, it'll be Steve at whatever Moss Park Arena.
I like that.
We'll have a camera set up there, and we'll be like, "Oh, Jesper Bratt
Yep.
scored,"
Yep.
and then Steve's got to go score.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just sharpened my skates for the first time in God knows how long and forgot how to skate entirely.
Which will make it more fun.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe you're right. My greatest success in sports.
Now,
No,
Jesse,
I got to host Tim and Sid with Sid, and I had chicken fingers with him. I think eating chicken finger. I said the day it happened, eating chicken fingers with Sid Sixero is like smoking a blunt with Snoop Dogg.
yeah,
And,
because he eats those every day, doesn't he?
Eat the Rogers cafeteria chicken fingers.
Are they good? I can't even remember.
Yeah,
They're pretty good.
The Rogers cafeteria is one of the best cafeterias in the world.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
I haven't been down there. I mean, even when I was working there,
OMP?
the OMP one I never went to. I went to the Jarvis. Remember they had the little coffee house once they did the renos at Jarvis, and Jesse and I would have. I had like a little coffee card, and you could go. This is all within the Rogers building. You could go over to the coffee woman, and she was from I think Argentina, and we'd always have a chat about.
And you get your stamp, and if you get 6 stamps, your next coffee's free.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
and they had a,
Oh, I know what you're talking
They had
about.
a really nice
Okay,
like
yeah,
French
yeah.
vanilla coffee that was so good.
Talk about the rule, the hack.
What was
that we
that?
all discovered? You could bring your own mug.
Oh yes, yeah, you could.
So
Yes, that's right.
We started just getting giant ass mugs.
That's right. Here's my big gulp.
You know, like when you're going on a trip to Mexico and you get the giant thing and you fill it
yeah.
up with margaritas, like that's what you bring. You get your coffee in there, and the
Cool.
coffee was only like $1.50 or something.
Oh yeah.
And now we set it into a mic, so it's going to be.
I don't know how it still works over there, but
No, it's been
worked
6
there
years
4
since I've been in that building. I have no idea how it works there.
I'm pretty sure it still works that way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right by the big picture.
Should get one of those
Swift.
big they call them Stanley cups, but the Stanley water things from TikTok. By the way, when I was still doing Virgin Radio, Jax bought one of those Stanley things, and she hauled it with her everywhere, and it's so impractical, right? Like it's like this big, and you're like, and she's like carrying it around with her. I'm like, you can't even put that in your bag. Like it's so
They don't
effing
fit
big.
in cup holders.
They don't
They're,
fit-
they're useless.
They're absolutely pointless. And Jax is like, I drink 6 of these a day. And a doctor called in and said, I know what you're talking about, and you need to cut that by more than half. That is way
You're gonna
too much
drown
water.
yourself.
Yeah,
uh,
that's like I think 6 full liters of water a day or something like
Yeah,
that.
like
Or
a guy my size shouldn't even be having that. No. Holy shit.
yeah, like when they say 6 of water in the day, they're talking about glasses of water.
No.
Water's great. Don't get me wrong on the water, but like drinking an entire lake every day is not good for you. Like it's
Entire
just straight up.
There's like 8 to 10 glasses or something.
Yeah, whatever it is. Okay, so listen,
big is the
before
glass?
As an opening segment, and I think this is only fair, I think we needed an update on the biggest news story on SDP this week, which is Baby Gronk. There's an update.
God.
Jesse, I just want to do a couple of these because it's a major update, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, if you remember from Monday's episode, Baby Gronk had committed to LSU. Now, he's 10 years old. He's averaging 300 yards a game and 5 touchdowns in his Little League football. And he's dating apparently somebody named Livy Dunn, who is a TikToker.
Adult!
From
She's an adult!
Louisiana State.
She's a legal voting adult!
And he's the Riz King because he rizzed her up. Now, there's been an update to the story, a couple of them, in fact. And it looks as though the relationship is on the rocks, Steve.
Oh.
Because Baby Gronk, apparently, the whole relationship is predicated on him going to LSU, right? Well, apparently he cheated on her. She's not happy about it. Go ahead, Jesse.
Baby Gronk cheated on Livy Dunn. Baby Gronk, aka the new Riz King, is the #1 college football prospect in the country and was committed to LSU. But recently, he's been seen on recruiting visits all across the nation. He's even met with Nick Saban and Deion Sanders. Livy is not happy about this. She might even get back together with the Drip King. Do you think Livy will stay with Baby Gronk or get back with the Drip King?
Now, we don't know. We don't know who the Drip King is. He does make appearances in these videos, but we're not 100% sure who the Drip King is and what Livy's history with the Drip King is. I don't know. Now, I want you to know something.
We
Steve.
have strayed too far from God.
On Monday's show, we talked about this
What has happened?
in full, and the account, the guy that you just saw there, his name is Hoopify, and several of our listeners sent him our podcast, and he responded and said it was hilarious. And so I was trying to get him to do a video featuring Steve Dangle as the Riz God, but he would not. He said, I'll see if what I can do tomorrow, and he just never followed up.
Oh, because we're way too small time for him.
We're way too small time for him.
I've never heard of
Way
him,
too small time.
which means he has 76 million followers.
He's
on
the
TikTok?
150,000 right now. 150,000 on TikTok.
Wow.
That's it.
Good.
I know it's crazy. Now there is another follow up here because Baby Gronk.
there isn't.
Baby Gronk
Doesn't need to.
Baby Gronk could be in trouble, guys, because of some family members. Okay, right? Because here's the thing: Baby Gronk's 10 years old, probably hasn't gone through puberty yet. And you got to be big to play football. You got to be huge to play football. What could hold Baby Gronk back? And I've just texted Jesse the video. Jesse, when you get the chance, we'd love for you to line it up. What do you think it is, Steve? What do you think?
His dad who brings him on podcasts and feeds him answers.
That is a weird ass video, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a weird ass video.
Yeah, weird's a
Baby
word.
Gronk might.
Exploitive might be another word.
Yeah, just a little. Here we go.
Monstrous.
This is the update?
This is the update how Baby Gronk, maybe all this is for nothing. Maybe we're looking at the 2030 draft too early here, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
You make the call.
know?
Baby Gronk might be screwed. Baby Gronk's dad is only 5'8", meaning that Baby Gronk will only grow to be 5'6", the same height as his girlfriend, Livy Dunn. There have only been 6 NFL players who have been 5'6" or shorter, meaning the odds aren't in Baby Gronk's favor. If he doesn't make the NFL, at least he's already made $100,000 in NIL money, and he's on track to become a millionaire. Do you think Baby Gronk will beat the odds and make the NFL?
Hoopify made a great point.
Wait.
This is a child, and we don't know if they're going to play in the NFL.
Also, why do we know that if his dad is 5'8", that he will for sure be 5'6"?
Because Hoopify said so.
Like
He's
I'm
the
the same
czar of the world.
I'm the same height as my dad. What are you? Your dad's tall, Jesse. How tall is your dad?
My dad's like 6'1".
And you're 6'4"?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Baby Gronk is going to be 5'11".
I trust Hoopify and his knowledge of the body.
Steve, what about you?
I'm so close to leaving.
Hey, you can't leave both jobs in 1 week.
Oh, shit. You're
gotta have
right.
something.
Now, where you gonna go?
No.
Now we
I'm
got
stuck
you.
here.
Now we got you. You can bring up all the Baby Gronk shit I want. You can't run.
I'm going to go work for Hoopify.
Baby Gronk
And I'll
will
be
beat
like,
the
Adam Wilde forces his coworkers to do videos about things he doesn't understand.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what, Adam? This is torture. This
I'm
is
sorry.
torture. You're putting me through multiple Baby Gronk videos, and this is a day after spending 6 hours with you in a truck.
I thought that was fun. Hey, by the way, we have secured the kayak.
We got him!
Before we do all that, I have something to bring to the table from Hoopify.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
What do you got? What do you got?
I've never truly known happiness.
Because we do indeed have the answer as to whether or not Steve Dangle is the Riz King.
I want to go to sleep. I want to bury myself.
Hoopify responded.
Is Steve Dangle the Riz King? My sources are...
What? I thought he didn't do it. No.
Are you ready? You heard it.
No way.
He asked the question that is the tease. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you heard Hoopify. He said, is Steve Dangle the Riz King?
Is he?
What do you think he says?
No. Steve Dangle is actually a 35-year-old man with an entire basement full of toys he nailed to the wall. Oh my God.
Here we go.
Hoopify responded.
Let's go, Hoopify.
Here we go.
Is Steve Dangle the Riz King? My sources are telling me no, because he's a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs and they can't Riz their way out of the second round of the playoffs. Is Steve Dangle the Riz
I love it. I love it. Oh my God. Man, Hoopify, big shout out to you. That's awesome. Man, I can't believe
this
you did
is
that.
worse than the Marchand tweet.
Oh, this is...
I'll never financially,
This is
emotionally,
incredible.
physically recover from this.
Jesse, did you contact him? How did this come?
No, he just responded to the tweet when which
I missed
listener.
it. Oh, he responded to me and I missed it.
So Lucas LJD098 podcast listener. They asked, they tagged him, and then he responded, and then you responded, and then he responded with a video.
Man, big shit. That guy's got a good sense of humor. Like
One more time.
Really funny.
One more time.
Is Steve Dangle the Riz King? My sources are telling me no, because he's a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs and they can't Riz their way out of the second round of the playoffs. Is Steve Dangle...
Actually, my wife, who just learned what that word means, said I'm the Riz God. All right.
Oh man.
They can't Riz their way out of the second round of the playoffs.
Oh, that's so nicely done. Nicely done, Hoops. Nicely done. God, that's funny.
Oh.
Yeah.
God. Maybe I think I figured out why the Leafs can't make it out of the second round.
What is it? What could it be?
Sheldon Keefe, remember that big rousing speech in Game 6 overtime against Montreal?
Yes, I do.
What if he was like, Mitchie, Austin, Himes, you're getting dominated. Dominated? Go out there and show them this is the time. This is now. Go out and do it. Like, what if he said it like that?
I think they would have. Listen, they're Gen Z, man, or at least two of them are. I think that they would be able to jump on that.
By the way, the whole generation thing is fucked.
What do you mean?
Well, so I was trying to figure out what generation Leo is. My son. He's not even 3.
I don't think they've named it yet, have they?
It's generation.
Have they?
A certain segment of very shitty Twitter is going to love the name of the next generation.
What is it?
Well, Gen Z, soft, bunch of snowflakes. So that means the next generation has to be called Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha. I hope it's followed up by Gen Giga.
But Gen Z is something like 23 years old.
Yep.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
To 8.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in common with an 8-year-old?
No, but it's just about the generations. It's not that deep.
No, it's not. Yes, it is. Absolutely that.
I don't know if it's that deep.
That means that Ron Hainsey, a noted millennial,
Yes.
is in the same generation as someone who's like 24, 25.
No, because he's a millennial, right?
Yeah.
Hainsey, yeah.
But
Hainsey's
someone who's
a millennial.
24 or 25 is a millennial.
No, they're not.
No.
No.
Look
I
it
think
up.
you're
Look
off.
at the game
Okay,
tape.
okay. Millennial.
Look it up.
It's also not that deep.
It's
Fine. Millennial.
Jesse, it is that deep.
I know for a fact from here on out that you are not a Riz King.
Yeah.
So
But I
Keep on.
know I'm not a Riz King. I'm a Riz God. And what's a king to a god?
Non-believer.
So a millennial, somebody born between the 80s and the late 90s, and I'm waiting on the actual number, but I believe it's 81 to 1996. So anybody who's a millennial now is in their 30s.
So Connor
or
McDavid
almost.
is the cutoff for...
Yeah, is Connor McDavid in 96?
No, he's a 97.
Yeah, so he
number at him.
It's Gen Z.
So he's Gen Z.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Man.
He's got big boomer energy, though.
Who, McDavid?
Yeah, I was gonna say
You think he's got
millennial.
boomer energy?
He's got boomer energy.
Did you see?
He doesn't have time for this shit.
He was on. He was doing some traveling. So I follow him on Instagram, and he was posting pictures of him traveling and doing some climbing, and it was
Where'd
like,
he
wow.
go?
I don't know. You know those like weird, those beautiful looking caves that all have. I don't know. We could throw up his Instagram. I don't even know where the hell it is, but it's in the States.
Like Arizona?
Yeah, it's one of those. Like it's like one of those where the dirt's orange and it's like
Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, that too.
It's very quaint. Good for him.
Hold on, I'm gonna see.
Arizona's got a lot of red rock.
Yeah, Connor McDavid.
Try Cow's ice cream while you're there, Connor. It's delicious.
Okay, so he is at Big Water, Utah. Which is the caves with the big swirly things on the. Am I describing that properly?
You can't fool me. That's a Halo mission.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
That's a very specific mission from Halo Reach, or when you have to get James Linkton with Sadie Adler in the epilogue of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go. I don't know what. By the way, when we secured the kayak yesterday, which took
you're not.
all of 6 hours to drive to go and get that thing, I dropped Steve off, and I was like, "What are you going to do the rest of the day?" He's like, "Probably play Red Dead Redemption," and then
No. What I said was, I've been told to mow the lawn by my wife, which means I'm going to play Red Dead Redemption for a little while and then go boom, fuck, and mow it in haste. That's exactly what
We should talk about why we got the kayak.
Oh yeah,
We've reached our goal on for our virtual 5K. Thank you, everyone, so much. Maddie, if you want to throw it up on the screen. We had a goal of $2,500, and we raised $3,370.
Whoa,
Blew past the goal.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that'll go to the Get Real movement and Rainbow Railroad. We're still accepting donations up until next Friday, so a week from today. That's when we're going to be posting the video of our virtual 5K, and Steve has pledged to do it in his kayak, so we will get him into the water, and you're going to do, I don't know, a K and a half in it, and then Adam's
I'll do
going
the
to
5K
do...
if you need me to.
No, but we all need to contribute. We all have to contribute our 5K.
Let's do 10K.
We could each do 5. We'll do 15K. Adam, I think you are going to do your Devil's outfit.
I am. I
think
am.
We're gonna have
still trying to find it, but I am.
What do you mean you gotta find it?
I think it's here, but like I had a bunch of boxes I moved, right? So that's the problem.
It's probably here.
It is
amongst
here.
the jerseys. I don't know.
I think so. But yes.
But I think it'll be hilarious when you're running along the beach.
Yes.
And we're gonna have you run in the sand.
Can I somehow get that on TikTok with the Baywatch theme song too?
Yes.
Because that's the only place we can. Yeah. No, that's not the Baywatch.
No, I know, but that's what it should be.
Oh no. No,
Be
Yeah, I want to be running, and I want that weird Baywatch thing that they always carried with them, and I never understood what that did. That plastic thing.
It was.
Is this supposed to be like a life?
Yeah, like helps them swim.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I don't know. A guy my size would sink that shit. There's no way.
Yeah. Well, no. It's, you and David Hasselhoff, same upper body.
Absolutely. Same hairy chest. That's for sure. So, yeah, really excited about that. And obviously, we'll be shooting it. And I can't wait for the HMCS. I believe it's called HMCS Fuck Adam.
Yes, it is.
So that will make its maiden voyage. I don't think anyone's ever used it.
Fuck you.
No one's ever used the kayak?
That's not true. I've used that kayak many times.
When did you use
okay.
it? Oh, you many times.
You better power wash it so I can eat off it.
Okay. Get into the action all summer long. Listen to that. Summer. Woo! The season's over. The NHL season's over. The NBA season's over. But there's still lots happening at Sports Interaction, including we got the draft coming up. We got free agency coming up for both of those sports, plus tennis, golf, whatever it is you're into, baseball, all happening right now at sportsinteraction.com/SDPN.
You can bet on those things. You can bet on free agency and draft.
Exactly. And we're going to actually throw a bunch of props up in the Dangles Doozy section as well. And remember, everything's you can do before games, live and play all summer long. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN or download the app to get started. It's 19 plus. Please play responsibly. So on the CJ show yesterday, about minute 26, we had a lot of Treliving, Matthews, and some Nylander news. And I thought the Nylander stuff was the most fascinating. Although
show,
it was thick.
dummy thick.
The Matthews stuff seems to be getting a lot of play online, and that's partially because of Travis Yost and myself, because I retweeted something he said. So we'll talk about that in a bit and what Matthews' extension may or may not look like. But if you're not paying attention to the CJ show, you should be. William Nylander's number is going to start with a 9. And that, to me, is that's going to be a really interesting extension because it's one of those extensions that I believe will go 8 years. And CJ said, if you go the full 8 with Willie, maybe you can get that number underneath 9, because that's a gigantic commitment. And not that the player is not worth it, but you would actually probably at the end of it save a lot of money. And I don't hate William Nylander at $8 million right now, or 8 something.
It's not a massive raise. Like in my head, I'm like, oh man, but he makes $6 million.
6.9.
Yeah.
He makes 7.
He essentially makes 7, right? So it's not a massive raise. I know his game has warts, but he's shown consistent development. His playmaking's gotten better. His defense has gotten better.
Yep.
It's not perfect,
Yep.
but it's gotten better. He's really good at picking guys off at the offensive blue line and the neutral zone. His goal scoring has improved leaps and bounds. He's bigger. He's stronger. Again, it comes back to, it doesn't matter what these guys get in a vacuum. The core 4 hasn't worked at a cheaper number. So you're going to get, like Matthews, it sounds very likely he's going to get an extension. And with that extension will come a raise. And Nylander, sounds like he's going to get an extension. And with that extension comes a raise.
So you eat into that new cap space real quick, right?
Oh man, the cap's going to go up. The cap's going to go. Yeah, and it's going to get eaten.
Yeah, well, okay. And I hear that. But
Where is this big jump coming from is my question.
What do you mean?
The big jump in the cap. Like, where's it coming from?
How many times do I need to explain that to you, my friend? It's hockey-related revenues.
Yeah,
They have to explain. So here's what happened. Here's what happened.
I don't believe this. Why would I not think anything other, or why would I think anything other than this full of shit league is full of shit?
It's a math equation, though. It is. And the reason that it's not going up this year, and you know this,
I'm not drinking
is because,
that
Steve, it's a literal math equation.
Yeah.
And the math equation is 50-50, but the players borrowed against their future to keep their salaries the same in 2020 and 2021, I guess, when no fans could be in the seats and they weren't making the same money. So they're paying the owners back over the course of, they said it was going to take up to 6 years. It's less than 3, and they're about 50 to 70 million. And the Players Association saying, listen, we haven't even calculated everything yet. Neither have the owners. We could be paid off at this point. We just don't know. There are estimates out there, but we just don't know. The reality of the situation is everybody, the owners and the players and the league, do want the cap to go up because it means the players are making more. Therefore, the owners are making more because the revenue's higher and the commissioner looks better. And we know from behind the scenes that the major teams are pushing Gary on raising the cap this year. But Gary's trying to extract something from the NHLPA. That's what's happening right now. And the PA is going to be the PA is going to say, no, we're not going to do that.
When does he leave them alone?
Regardless of if the cap went up, because it's going to go up $1 million in October.
Yes.
It's going to be 1 or 1.5. It's going to be pennies. But even if next year it goes up 4 or 5, I think the point that Steve is making, which I think is the correct point, is you can't have a roster with Austin Matthews making 34 because he's going to put that in there. He's going to make 13.34.
Now you're just trying to trigger
William Nylander making 8.88. because that's what it's going to be, because that's his number. Mitch Marner still making the 10.9 and John Tavares making $11 million and expect to win because that's just too much money, regardless of if you have $4 million extra. That's still too much to pay 4 players and then also fill out the rest of your roster with a competitive team.
Here's another way to look at it. If you sign those extensions, the cap goes up for everything for everybody else, but it remains flat for you
because you've already spent that money on these 4 guys, and then you're in the same situation that you were in for the last.
Hey, but we're putting the cart before the horse here. I'd like to at least talk about the 2 extensions and what they could look like.
Okay,
right. That's where I do want to take this there first. William Nylander in a vacuum at $8.5 to $9 million. Who's upset? Anybody here?
In a vacuum, it's fine.
I think that's what he's worth.
He might score 100 points next year.
The number
so.
CJ did say was 975.
975?
That's fucking high.
That is really high. But that's where he's starting.
Yeah, that's negotiation tactics.
He can start there, but I tell you what, this negotiation better go better than the last one.
I think you got a different guy in
You're not $250,000 shy of Jack Eichel.
Well, and that's I agree with that completely. I think it will go differently this time. You have a different guy. And this is the thing about the core 4 not being moved is if the extensions can't get done, they're getting moved. You can't hold William Nylander for an entire year and then lose him a la Johnny Gaudreau. And I think Brad Treliving knows a lot about that, has experienced that directly, doesn't want to be in that position again. So William Nylander starting at 975 or whatever, to me is just a starting point. It's like when Mitch Marner signed his contract, there were numbers out there like in the 14 millions, like, go eat shit. Like, no way is that going to happen.
Let me ask this question. What would you rather have? William Nylander at 975 or Marner at 10.9?
I think 975 isn't going to happen though. Not here anyway.
It's just a rhetorical question.
That's a really good one. I don't know.
Or a hypothetical question.
I mean, it depends on how much money, because that would be what, $1 million spread or $2 million spread, right? 2 million difference between the two numbers. So how much is that extra?
It's 1 million. Yeah. Just over 1 million.
1.2 million.
So is 20 extra points worth?
Is 20 extra points and far superior defense. Far.
Then yeah. Well, that's why I don't think you're going to have Willie at that number.
I hope not.
Yeah, no.
I hope not.
I mean, CJ did say it was, you get him to the 8 years, it comes down below 9. I don't mind that.
Ideally, significantly below 9.
And here's where the Leafs can leverage things, because they can pay a bunch of these guys like they have done up front. Pay most of the money in the first 4 years. Contract becomes completely tradable. And by the way, if Nylander signs on or about $9 million, I still think he's the most tradable of the four best players on this team.
Yeah, but you don't want to sign guys to trade them. Like, they should definitely build in that option because you never know how things are going to go.
That's my point.
If the Leafs are signing William Nylander to be like, all right, if in year 4 this thing isn't working out, then we can trade him. Then it's been a failure along those 4 years. Then we know things didn't go well if we have the crystal ball into the future and they're trading him.
Do you see what we mean?
No, not yet.
No,
because we haven't even discussed Austin Matthews.
All right, let's talk about it.
1334.
People are pissed already this morning at the idea, and CJ's been talking about this. A few other shows have been talking about it too. The fact that this 8-year contract that everybody thinks is just going to materialize, that he's going to sign this because he likes playing in Toronto and because he likes the fans. And I think that he likes playing in Toronto. I think that he likes the fans. I also think that Austin Matthews is kind of a different animal. Like, people are like, Nathan McKinnon signed for 8 years. Is Nathan McKinnon Austin Matthews? Are they personality-wise anywhere close to each other?
Doesn't he also make 12.6?
Yeah, he's the highest paid player in the league.
Won a cup.
Better
playoff performer.
No question.
Like, zero question.
Zero question.
Zero.
You could say better player. You could just say better player.
You could.
And I think most people would, wouldn't they? At least so far.
I'm curious what the argument is against it.
So I guess the only argument is Austin's younger and you're betting on him to get better.
He ain't that much younger.
So the question I have is 3-year deal. It seems to be what it's going to be.
Fuck off.
If it could be 3 to 5, but my bet is 3 years, because if you're Austin, And I sympathize with this. Why wouldn't you take a bet on yourself, make 13 and a half, whatever it's going to be? Because that's where it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to land in there. You're giving up UFA years because this extension wouldn't even kick in until the end of this coming season.
Right.
And you're giving up UFA years when the cap is due to go up. The estimates, conservative estimates, are about $10 to $15 million each of the next 3 years. And I believe it. I'm not like Steve. I actually believe that the cap is going up because here's the thing. The owners even want it. Now, the other problem here is that, you sign the 3-year deal, but you piss off a good portion of the fan base who think magically that you're just going to sign for 8 years because that's a hockey thing. Well, you signed for 8 years. And it's going to be, because here's the problem. Matthews at 8 years could cost you $17 million a year. $15 million conservatively. Because you're buying into 8 years of unrestricted free agency potentially.
You can't do that right now. What's the max of a salary cap?
I think it's 17, isn't it?
Is it 17?
Yeah, it's like it's 20% of the salary cap.
Here's Brad Treliving's job, and it's a hard one. We're heading into this season with an unbelievable amount of question marks for the Leafs.
Yes.
They're losing a big chunk of this team.
Yep.
Like a wild chunk of this team, and the core is staying together. We've seen that before, though.
Yep.
We've seen a big chunk of the team turn over, and the core stays together, and they do what?
They continue.
They continue to what?
Make
Win
the playoffs.
less than half of the
Make
games
the
required
playoffs
to make the
in January each year.
Fuck it. Fuck it. Do not care. Shove a 111-point season wherever the fuck you want to. I do not give a shit. I don't even give a shit about home ice advantage in the playoffs, dude. I don't care. Because why should I? Why should I give a damn about the regular season success of this team? I shouldn't. The answer overwhelmingly is, over the last few years, we've learned you shouldn't care about, oh, great, they clinched home ice advantage. Gives a fuck. Who gives a fuck? They won one playoff game at home this year. One. And this was their greatest playoff success since 2004. Fuck my life. That's horrible. That's miserable. So Brad Treliving's job is to get fans excited about what? Because right now the answer is the same shit. I'm supposed to be excited about that? It's June and I keep trying to picture next year and it's cloudy, right? It's difficult to envision because there's going to be so many different players and there's so many question marks and so many unknowns. But I don't know how you succeed this season beyond luck. Dumb luck. Like, what's the theory? Is the theory that this core is so good that one year you're going to run into a team who you genuinely beat in round one and you're going to get a hot goalie on your side in round two, and in round three they're going to be missing their star player, and in round four the other team is too banged up to compete? What about you build the best team possible? What about you build the best team that you can? You build genuinely the best team.
So how are they not doing that by trying to re-sign these players?
Because we know that this core is not qualified for this. Unless we try it again and they do. Like, here's the thing. I will not... all these clips last on the internet forever, right? So if they win the Stanley Cup, oh, Steve, you fucking idiot. Dude.
That's what you want. You want to be wrong.
Yeah, fine. That's the best way to get exposure, is to be wrong constantly. But, dude, they ran it back again and again and again and again and again. And if it sounds like I said again a lot, I'm only holding up 5 fingers. They did it more than that. They did it more than that. Why should I believe? Like, no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe this core gets it done. Maybe, hey, hooray. Maybe they get it done. But there's no reason to believe that. Do you understand? Like,
I do.
I hope those words.
There's no evidence to back up that.
I agree.
This formula works.
There's no factual evidence to suggest this Toronto Maple Leafs core can get it done.
Yeah.
Will they get it done? Yeah, maybe. I hope they do. Fuck. That'd be awesome. But there's no evidence to support it.
And it's not necessarily the core of players. It's the core of players within this salary cap.
Yeah.
Because you can't build around them in this way. Like, these players might be able to get it done if they had a better supporting cast. If you could get in some other,
or if they were better.
Players.
Why can't
or
you?
if they were better. They had a good supporting cast. They really and so I understand what you're saying. So here's how I think this plays out. This is my way too early prediction. They're going to give this one more shot. And then when it doesn't work,
fuck off.
When it doesn't work, Shanahan's gone. And the core is broken up.
No, he isn't.
I know. I think.
You think Shanahan, after
he sets the course for this,
ripping down the Dubas regime that he put in place, the year after ripping down the Dubas regime he put in place, and hiring an entire new staff, one more year is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah, because
that's what I think.
Then
Absolutely
there's evidence
not.
that it's his fault. Eventually, we need to get to the point where everybody kind of realizes that Brendan Shanahan's the puppet master in this thing, and these decisions are his decisions. And if it keeps failing, then it's his fault.
Who is the
Last
common
year was
denominator?
his fault.
Yes.
He brought in
Yes.
Dubas.
No, I agree.
From the beginning.
Yes, but no.
You agree? Then what the fuck? I'm taking crazy pills.
No, I'm
Steve.
I'm agreeing with you.
He's agreeing with you.
We're on the same side.
He's
I
on
don't
the
know why
same-
you're yelling
yeah.
at me.
I think that
agree with you.
I think
You
that
gotta listen.
I'll yell at you. I
You
don't
gotta listen.
No, I'm going to listen with my listening ears. I'm going to use my words.
Go ahead. Adam.
No.
no. I think here's the thing. At a certain point, like you can. Kyle Dubas would get in front of a crowd, like on a press conference at a blue table, just like this one, and he'd say, "That all stops with me." But in reality, we found out that it actually didn't.
No.
And he would say, "Well, if I wasn't able to get Brendan convinced on a deal, then that's on me." And I would say, no, it isn't. It's on the guy who holds the strings of power in this situation, which is Brendan, which is why Kyle is now a president. He got fired and then got a promotion. How about that? Now, when we look at the way that the Leafs are structured, this is Brendan Shanahan's last bullet. This is it. He's replaced a general manager. He's replaced a couple coaches. He's replaced a couple general managers too, because didn't he fire the previous guy and bring in Lou Lamoriello and Kyle Dubas eventually?
You
And
think one season is a bullet?
I actually do, and I think the reason why is they want to have a look at, and CJ went on and talked about this. They want to get rid of some of the people that the Leafs were in love with, that I believe, and I think if you're a Leaf fan with eyeballs, despite what the charts will tell you, believe held them back. We know that Kerfoot, Holl, and Bunting, according to CJ on the Chris Johnson show yesterday, will not be back. Two of those guys, like Bunting is his own thing, but the Leafs put a heck of a lot of faith in two guys that really delivered not much for them.
No.
And by a heck of a lot of faith, I don't just mean the money. I mean, Kerfoot was making too much money for what he delivered. He had a really bad regular season, scored a big goal in the playoffs, big OT goal, and I was thrilled for him. You're rooting for these people, but at the end of the day, people were talking about how great the Holl and Muzzin pairing was. And then they're like, see, Muzzin without Holl, he stinks. And I'm like, that's because anybody else other than Holl is fucking terrible on this roster. They were super weak up the right side. They've never had, at least at that point.
Get a righty. Oh. Well, does TJ Brody work? Well, he shoots left, but fuck it. Sure.
Well, I mean, maybe that's why Babs made the comment he did when they got Muzzin instead of a right shot defenseman.
Dude, the Leafs' right side was so bad for so long that their best right-handed defenseman shoots left.
Or Cody Ceci played with Morgan Riley for an entire season on the top pair. And I think that Brad Treliving apparently wants to remake the Leafs defense. If it looks anything like Calgary's in a couple of years, I'm loving it.
Well, that's wild because most of the Leafs decor is locked up to next year.
Well, sure, but that's movable. They said they've talked about the core four not moving, but here.
No, I'm excited is what I'm saying. That part has me excited.
I want to throw something out there, and I love this player. I especially love this player in the playoffs. But after the playoffs that Morgan Riley had, with that extension kicking in, with the injuries that he had all last year, Is that an option?
Morgan Riley, for what he makes, is a great value contract.
He
makes
is.
$7.5 million, and
And a playoff performer.
he's easily your best defenseman. Like, he was the best player in the playoffs. Like, that dude's a gamer during the playoffs, and there's evidence to prove that Morgan Riley will show up in big games in the playoffs, which is what you need, which is worth more than $7.5 million.
It's really tough sell.
Question for you.
There's I don't think that you should be moving.
And I'm going through the list here. Then TJ Brody at $5 million. You got 1 year left. We like TJ Brody. Most of the time you don't hear about TJ Brody, which means he's doing a good job.
If you can move off him for a trade that makes sense, sure. But I'm not sure how much that trade is
at that number. You probably just sit on it for the year.
Right.
$5 million is gonna. What swap are you making for? Because somebody's paying for a rental of TJ Brody.
Yes.
What do you? And are the Leafs?
I think you would move off it. The idea in theory would be to. I don't think there's a hockey trade there. I think it would be like, we want to move that. We want to deploy these dollars in a different way.
Yeah, I don't think the Leafs are in a position to be making things that aren't hockey trades.
I saw Jason Gregor talking about acquiring TJ Brody and then buying him out because his contract's, I guess, built an interesting way. Can you buy him out on cap friendly? Because that made no sense to me, but it was the first I had ever heard of it.
Where's the buyout this contract button?
I got it here.
Oh, there it is.
Fine.
It's actually not bad. Well, it's bad. You buy him out, it's a split even cap, right? So it's
2.5.
2.5 because he's making $7.5 million.
So maybe I misunderstood him because that doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't. Yeah, maybe you did. I don't. I also don't think it makes any sense to buy him out anyway. I do think he's a useful player.
He's incredibly useful.
The problem with the Leafs defense, and this is why I'm glad Treliving is here to remake it, is then you have Jake McCabe, who's
at $2 million.
At $2 million for 2 more years. He's 29, and you know what? I want to see Jake McCabe when he's got a full full training camp to adjust the system. I thought he was very useful, and then I thought there were times where you're like, "Holy shit, Jake! What the hell was that?"
I know his at $2 million. His mission is to be consistently better than Justin Holl. Can you please crawl over that goddamn bar?
Yes, he can. Timothy Liljegren at 1.4, and then he's an RFA next year, and then you've got Connor Timmins and Mark Giordano under deal, and then Gustafsson, Hall, and Luke Schenn. And I believe they're going to re-sign Luke Schenn eventually, but at a pretty low number. Hall and Gustafsson, I think, are as good as gone. There's an opportunity here for them to fully flip this around.
Timmins, I could see going, just because he was sort of a Dubas reclamation project, and now Dubas is gone.
Can you send him down?
You could.
You can, and I think that's
no cap it.
Yeah, I think Timmins would be a great Marley.
Yeah,
Fuck.
And you know what? Maybe you need depth. You need depth. And Giordano shouldn't be playing anything more than third line minutes or third pair minutes.
Send him to the Penguins.
Giordano, his body crumbled by the time game 82 came around, and he had to play 83.
I wonder if that's a guy.
He wasn't up for the playoffs.
I wonder if that's a guy where you stop giving him the option of playing and you say, "Listen, we're going to play you for 40 or 45 games this year. We want you for the playoffs. We want you fresh for the playoffs."
I wish you could take a year off and just come to the Leafs in I don't know, February.
Yeah,
and then just start playing
100%.
from there.
Hey,
go sit at home till February.
I got one. Don't have a cap situation so fucked that you're starting university students, having university students back you up while your starting goaltender, weeks before the playoffs, is injured.
Yep.
We don't talk about that enough. And people are like, Steve, why are you obsessed with the $34,000 Matthews is making at the end of his contract? That's the difference.
Because at the end of the year, that becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, man.
And so
Logan Roy in Succession.
This team is
You are
going to
not
look
serious people. If you're defending that,
this is going to look like a very different team. I think Matt Murray's contract is either buried on LTIR or gone,
or bought out. It might get bought out.
Okay, let me have a look at that buyout calculator.
It's not great. It's not terrible.
It's your cap hit this year is 680,000. Excuse me, and then next year it's $2 million.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all.
Instead of 4.6, so you're saving, I think, roughly $4 million the first year and $2 million.
And they could use that because they've got a lot of free agency. The thing is,
that the most fun thing about buying out Matt Murray's contract is you get to screw Ottawa a little.
Oh yeah,
You get
they
to-
take a hit.
You get to send 200 grand to their cap hit and then 600 grand the next year.
Sorry, Pierre Dorion
Yeah.
or whoever is replacing Pierre Dorion
Take
that we're
that.
being open about. Weird.
They ain't hitting the cap. I don't think they care. I don't think they give a flying shit.
If that sale is even done by Christmas, I'd be shocked.
End of the summer is what they keep saying.
You know,
They're saying he might put his Montreal portion of the team in a trust and then have it just sit in there, and then whoever wants to buy it can buy it. But there's a lot of legal stuff that's got to go on for that sale. It's going to be a while.
That's, you know what?
man,
Let's talk about that.
if only,
That's what I want to talk
if
about.
only we'd known about this sale for 6 or 7 months beforehand, we could have resolved this. I just wish it hadn't had to happen so quickly.
There's more details about that's been coming out. So Ann Lauer was the lowest bid.
Yes,
during the
because
initial
he
bid.
knew he was the preferred bid.
And then the second time around, he was also the lowest bid. And then Gary's sitting there, he's like, what the fuck? I want to give you this team. Stop low bidding. And then they had to like get him to actually put in a competitive offer, and they got up to $950.
His bid started at 800, and I think his second bid was somewhere in the neighborhood of 825.
Yeah.
Deeply, bitterly, unseriously.
But it's so poor to have that situation play out, because you have somebody who has all the power because he knows he's getting this team. So was it ever really a sale?
Yeah, it's like going into a house bid in Toronto, but knowing that no matter what, they want you to own the house. Okay, will you just come a little bit up? Just like make it not look bad for us. We just want to say billion. I just want to say billion for the Senators. Please.
I feel bad for like the Remington Group and all the other people who were
serious,
who were serious people in these situations who put all. You know how hard it is to buy a fucking franchise.
Oh yeah, and the
they-
Remington Group had the money.
They did
had
all
the money.
that work and
Yeah.
all that stuff just to go there and for Ann Lauer to show up and be like, you know what, I know Gary.
And Apostolopoulos, by the way, has the money as well, and he put in a bid. I mean, that guy was trying to buy an NFL franchise. He's got the money. I don't know. It's fascinating.
The more stuff that comes out of that, I'm like, ugh. NHL.
I think the guy
do an NHL thing.
Ann Lauer has been a minority owner of the Montreal Canadiens since 2004, and Gary wanted somebody Gary trusted because Gary's been burned before. If you go back and you look at some of the guys that Gary has allowed to own franchises in this league, you would be shocked. If it was the age of the internet when a couple of those Nashville Predators or Atlanta Thrashers owners came through, we would be shish kebabbing the guy. But because it happened just before, 2007, 2008, no one really remembers it. There's like a memory of the internet, and it starts at that era, at least in hockey Twitter.
Yeah. Well, when the NHL says there's something to get excited about, I believe him.
Oh, yes, fair enough. Now, back to the Leafs for a second here. Okay, so you know that Matthews and Nylander will probably get worked on this summer. CJ's saying that Nylander, if it gets done, would be done before Matthews. Kerfoot and Holl not being back. I want to just take a minute, and then I want to talk about Bunting too. I want to just take a minute. Kerfoot and Holl are two of the biggest whipping boys of the Kyle Dubas era regime in Toronto. No question, right? Two of the Leafs that people fairly or unfairly loathe the most.
I think on Twitter, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And on this podcast for sure.
no, but also
I don't know how unpopular they were with a lot of fans. I don't know.
Oh, ask around.
No, ask it, dude. In all my like casual conversations about the Leafs, I mean, every single conversation comes back to the core five guys and the goalie. That's all anybody wants to talk about.
Right.
It's us dorks who like make.
Okay, well then among the dorks that you, I'll be honest with you, most of my
Justin Hall's universally hated.
yeah, I think and it's not fair to him because
Hardcore
he was
fans-
he's a $2 million, or really he's not a $2 million defenseman. He was paid $2 million and put in positions he could never have succeeded in.
Yeah.
That guy is a good person and a NHL defenseman in limited minutes. That is a fair summation of Justin Hall.
And he's welcome to do it somewhere else.
The only person more hated than Justin Hall is Walter White's wife in Breaking Bad. Skyler. Skyler is number one. Number two is Justin Hall.
Man,
I saw. Did you see the poll? It's like, who do you hate the most? And it was Gus Fring, Skyler, and
the two Nazi guys.
the two Nazi guys. And everyone's like,
Skyler.
people hate this woman significantly more than two Nazis.
I like Gus Fring. I thought he was awesome. Crazy person.
Yeah, but he's evil.
crazy
Like the
character.
Nazis.
No, but like Skyler was just like it
Skyler's the most hated character
got in the way.
history of television.
got in the way. Got in the way
Of what?
of the plot. Like every time she was on screen, I'm like, what are we watching? I'm gonna hate this scene. Fast forward. Okay,
Adam's
cool.
one of those people.
Oh, can't stand it. And it was-
Adam's one of those.
And the thing is that
found
it
it.
didn't need to be that way. It didn't need to be that way. But
You know
they every time it's like
Let me see your Instagram Explore page. I bet it's a nightmare.
Oh,
Let me see. Let me see.
No, I'm not.
Let me see your TikTok. Let me see the For You page.
Adam,
Let me see your For You page.
Adam,
I need
tell
to
us
see it.
why.
guys know, and I
no.
also don't like The Last Jedi. I must have voted conservative.
Oh my God.
I must.
The back of your truck has a PPC.
Yeah, I bet it does.
I just didn't
It
see
doesn't.
Tell us why the wife of a guy who's basically running a mob and a drug cartel is the bad person in the story.
And a murder.
And he's a murderer.
I also
Multiple times.
That was the thing about Breaking Bad, though, is nobody's good.
What murder?
Skyler was.
Skyler was not good.
She was not good.
What it
by the
was
end.
though, for me, it was literal plot. Like you're just like we're getting in the way of. I want to see them do like if you watch Breaking Bad, you're accepting the fact that these are all horrible people. This is
He
the
was
worst of all
running a
of them.
drug empire while trying to lead a normal
And he
life.
wasn't a part-
She was extremely necessary to the plot. She was his wife.
But the way that they positioned it, I was like, man, like
Do you remember that awful scene where he has sex with her in the kitchen? Like
That's pretty bad.
that's oh my god.
you see what I mean?
That's-
It's just so you're just filling time. That's the only there are ways that they could have had a relationship with him because it's him and his wife's relationship breaking down, right?
Was
His-
Walter White a Riz God?
Yeah, he might have been. His relationship with his wife was breaking down. It was breaking down before the show even starts, right? So there are
breaking
ways
down
to
bad.
portray that without doing it the way they did, is my point.
I said it was breaking down bad, Adam.
Aha.
I said it was.
She cheats on him at one point, right? With that dude.
The guy, the business owner.
Yeah,
That she'd
yeah.
had a past, what was his name?
They were like friends. I
Beneke?
forget his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his first.
Was it Beneke?
I don't even remember. But anyway.
She did a good job at the car wash. you know?
Yeah, true.
Rinsing the money.
True.
Make it
Absolutely.
clean. Yeah.
You know, like this is the thing. They're all shitty. The question was, who is the shittiest person in Breaking Bad? That's not the
Definitely
question.
The
Walter.
Nazis.
The question was, which character do you enjoy the least on screen?
That's fair.
And that was the character I enjoyed the least on screen. I'm allowed to have that opinion.
That was the question. Yes. Damn. And universally, everyone is on your side.
Thank you. And the characters we've rightly or wrongly least enjoyed being in Toronto Maple Leaf uniforms of the last 5 years are Kerfoot and Holl. They are.
So wait, what you're saying is we should have liked them, but we didn't
Well, that's what
because of the way they were positioned.
that's what this Leafs management group was sort of suggesting. They suggested the same thing with CC. Listen, I loved them, but I also find the management group. I love most of the decisions they made, but I also found them infuriating. And I understand why people would be like, "Oh my God," with Dubas. It doesn't mean you don't like Dubas. It just means like, Kyle, I think you're being a little stubborn on a point that you can concede this point. You can concede that Cody Ceci wasn't that great. You can concede that Justin Holl was perhaps $500,000 overpaid. You can concede that Alex Kerfoot didn't turn into the player you thought he might, and you hung on to him a little bit too long. But there were stubborn elements to this group that was so forward thinking that kind of surprised me. And so with Kerfoot and Holl gone, I think that it opens up an opportunity for things like younger players to come in. One of the things that we talked about last episode was the fact that by the time the Leafs got to training camp, you knew what the starting lineup was. So it's like, why are we even trying out? And if you have one guy push another guy out, it's like, well, yeah, but if we waive him, if we waive the lesser player, one guy can be sent down, the other player would have to be waived. Let's keep the less good guy for depth and put the really good guy back with the Marlies.
One of the names that was sort of mentioned, I thought too casually on the CJ show. I was like, give me some more on that shit. Ivan Barbashev. Like, I want some younger guys on the team for sure, but they got a hole on the left.
They wanted Barbashev.
Okay, cool. Do they still? Bring him in. He's got 2 cups. He's really good.
I think
He's
the
still-
number is going to be a little too
I think it's
high.
be crazy.
God,
for
I
him.
Be a
hope
little
not.
rich.
I hope not. Now, here's what I'm on board with.
Yeah, give me.
The dudes Dubas was too loyal to being gone. Here's what I'm not down with. The dudes Dubas was too loyal to being replaced with the dudes Brad Treliving is too loyal to. Because
Why is Michael Stone's name coming up?
name that has been repeatedly
unserious.
He's been repeatedly tied to
he's
Treliving
not
and the Leafs, and I tell you what, I'm gonna fucking flip my lid.
Okay, why? First off, explain Michael Stone, explain the Dubas connection, and explain why you would flip your lid.
Justin Holl with less skill. Do you want me to go more in depth or
No, I think that's fair.
yeah?
What if he comes to Toronto on the same contract he had in Calgary?
Which was what?
$750,000.
Fine. Then in that case, you're Jordy Ben, you're Victor Mete.
Yeah.
But
What's wrong with that?
there's nothing wrong with that. But as an everyday player, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I think he would come here for $750,000, $800 maybe, give him a little raise.
No.
And then if he's competing for a spot, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I think that's what every player is. You know, he wouldn't automatically slot into the top 6.
Yeah,
And he's a Marley if he doesn't make it.
Yeah.
that I wouldn't hate. But if he gets significantly above league min, no.
I don't.
No, thank
I don't think that he would. I don't think that he would. And listen, Michael Stone is not my favorite player either. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, listen, if you think
But I'm not going to waste too much time on Michael Stone. Like, at least I know Michael Stone's not playing with Morgan
And
Riley
it's also,
next year.
Steve, when was the last time Michael Stone made above league min?
do you tell me? I don't know.
2020.
Oh,
So he had a contract with the Calgary Flames in from 17 to 20. It was a 3-year deal. He was $3.5 million per year. Way too much. Got way too much money. But then since then, he signed a contract for $700,000, $700,000, then $750,000.
all right.
And then $750,000 again, actually. So 4 years of $7 to $750,000. That's what he makes. That's his money now. If Brad Treliving wants to bring him in, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, and the one thing I would say in his defense is no one was stoked on the Jordy Ben signing.
And he was decent.
one. And he was fine.
I liked Jordy Ben. I liked him.
he might have played in the playoffs had he not been hurt.
Yeah. I actually thought he was one of the only people before Luke Shen got here who delivered a body check.
Yeah.
Like-
Wasn't he slotted with Morgan Riley his first game?
Yes, I was there. It was against Vancouver.
He scored!
And Luke Shen was playing that night, and he was crushing Leafs. Like, man, I'm telling you, Luke Shen and another guy who could throw some hits back there, who actually could play maybe perhaps a little bit more of an agile game than Luke Shen, would be fabulous. Fabulous. Be great.
Jake McCabe.
Well, Jake McCabe is that guy. You're right. Yeah, Jake throws some pretty nasty hits in a good way.
Yeah, second pair, maybe even push him down to third. I'm like, listen, I don't want to be a Neanderthal about hockey. Like, I still believe in analytics and everything, but like, dude, look at the Final Four. They're all fucking huge.
Would anybody
Look at the on the back end? Look at the Final Four.
Would anybody hardcore analytics say Tom Wilson's a bad hockey player?
I hope not.
Right. Tom Wilson is what, if you're like, I don't know why we have to keep qualifying this. A guy like Tom Wilson, who would be actually perfect on the Leafs if his body doesn't break down. And by the way, the Capitals are not trading him. Freach, by the way, reported that. He would be a great guy to run shotgun with Marner and Matthews, who doesn't love a pair like, or, a threesome like that. And I'm just kind of questioning why we have to say that every time. Of course.
Maybe we don't.
Of course we have to. Of course we want players who can score goals. The point is, what else can you do? Because in the playoffs, you do need to do more. A guy like, and it didn't work out so great in Boston because Florida just had the magic this year. They really did. But Tyler Bertuzzi up front.
He had 10 points in 7 games.
And here's the thing. Scores, but what else does he do?
It's dick, and he's full of dicketry.
The reason that Leafs Nation feels this way is because before we would have guys that would hit and couldn't do anything else. Now we have guys that can score, and it's not that they can't be physical, but it sure would be easier if they had people who were more physical, which would allow that to come out a little bit. Like, I think I've seen Austin Matthews throw body checks. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm not saying he's blocked shots.
No. You ever make a dad joke in your head?
What?
And you react out loud because you're like, oh.
Is that why you're saying, oh, no?
Now I got to say that out loud, yeah.
Okay, what is it?
I think Tyler Bertuzzi would really get the Leafs a shot in the arm.
I like that. I appreciate that. I actually think
He would give them a boost, too.
Tell me why Tyler Bertuzzi doesn't re-sign in Boston, though.
Money. Their cap situation is
rough.
hell. This was their year, and they squandered it in the playoffs. Their caps, they're already over the cap. It's ridiculous.
There's a reason why, like, dude, Patrice Bergeron is so Teflon, but there's a reason why at the end of the season he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Like, his career was done, and this team's in a rough spot.
Yeah.
Now, one thing.
Typical Boston, though, they'll win the division.
Well, one thing, you know how we've talked about Ottawa and how they were like, oh yeah, we're going to be much better this year, and it's like, dude, you got to make up 30 points.
Yeah.
Like, is Boston really going to go from 65 wins to 30?
Maybe.
Maybe, but I highly doubt it.
Boston right now has $4.9 million in cap space, and they have Bergeron, Bertuzzi, Foligno, Hathaway, Krejci, Nosek, Clifton, and Orlov all as UFAs, and then Trent Frederick and Swayman as RFAs. And they have less than $5 million.
And I mean, Orlov leaving is basically a foregone conclusion. He's going to make more money than any other free agent.
He's going to, he'll be the most expensive contract, I think.
Swayman too. Is that a trade? Damn. Oh, God, that's a bad situation.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Swayman.
And you got some good players there still. Mm-hmm. You do. But
got Pasta, Marchand, Hall.
I mean, they're not rebuilding. They're too good to rebuild. That's one thing that I like that they mentioned on the CJ show is it makes no sense for either party for Erik Karlsson to still be a Shark because he wants to win and they don't. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make any sense for him to be there. You don't extend David Pastrnak with plans of losing.
Would you bring Erik Karlsson to Toronto?
Yeah, but fuck it. Core 5.
How would you afford that? and also, why would he be a Leaf? No one's voting that, are they?
He wouldn't.
Why not?
No.
Yesterday it came out or day before that Erik Karlsson and the Sharks are working towards a trade this offseason. So they're revisiting that.
That doesn't make any sense.
It didn't work during the regular season, but now that it's the off season, there's more cap shenanigans you can do with other teams. So the Sharks and Karlsson are revisiting trading him to another team.
CJ did mention the Oilers.
Yep.
I know they went out and got Matthias Ekholm, but it's the off season. You can have some fun. That'd be crazy. But you got Evan Bouchard, so what's the point?
Yeah. I don't the fit we thought it was the Oilers during the regular season, but seeing how things played out, I don't think they need them. Unless you're unloading Darnell Nurse, which I don't see why the Sharks would do that unless it's a 3-way, because then you're moving out the giant contract to get parts of Erik Karlsson's giant contract back.
What competitive team has $11.5 million and no one to run their top power play unit?
Who?
It's a short list is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That feels like a unicorn of a situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't be the full amount. Hopefully you can get the Sharks to take a lot of it.
Well, what were they? They were saying max $2 million. That's what they were.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Just, Mike Greer, this is your chance.
Yeah.
You had a crazy year. Unload him now, and just eat shit.
What's if they were to retain half? That's what 5.75. Like, imagine retaining an entire Josh Anderson. Like an entire David Clarkson, you can't do it, right? So it's going to have to be a percentage, and it ain't going to be half.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting won't be back. This is a guy that the Leafs took a shot at. I think it's one of the best signings Dubas ever made in his tenure with the Leafs. Because he got Michael Bunting at $900,000 for 2 years. Guy comes in and scores 59 points in his first year, up for Rookie of the Year, and then I think it was in the 40s this past year. It really doesn't matter. The one problem though with Bunting, with the Leafs, because there was a microscope, he became a sideshow, and he became a guy. He went from a guy who could draw every penalty to a guy who couldn't stay out of the box and could not help himself yelling at the refs, to the point where the Leafs finally had to put him on the fourth line and say, okay, you're going to need to shut up now. And when he did get suspended in early in the playoffs, they kept him out an extra game because it was like, Mike, we just can't mess with a good thing. They had one. So
can I give you the nightmare scenario?
What's the nightmare scenario?
When Palpatine seduces Anakin to the dark side.
Bunting as a Bruin?
Fuck yeah. Nightmares.
Teach, man. If Marchand wants a guy to teach him his ways, holy shit!
Work on that signature, Mike. He's going to show you how to sign sticks. work on that signature, Mike. You're going to learn how to spell. What's his name? To Trevor Hansen, your biggest fan, Michael Bunting. To Steve Kazari, your biggest fan. To Wes McCauley, buddy. It's gonna be tough.
What do you think? What do you think that the Leafs lose with Michael? Because I think a lot of it became just about the penalties and the stupidity. But this is a very good player.
Here's what the Leafs lose with Michael Bunting. Right? They are losing a player who I think they started to resent because of how much they had to babysit him. And what they may realize is they're also losing a guy who had to babysit them. How many times did that dude stick up for players when no one else would? Travis Konechny, who's given up, 4 inches and 30 pounds to Austin Matthews, is going at him at the end of the game. And who jumps in to save him? Michael Bunting and the oldest active player in the National Hockey League, and Mark Giordano. And why were any of us surprised when no one stuck up for Matthew Nyes when Sam Bennett chokeslammed him? This team's soft as baby shit. So when Kyle Dubas talked about losing Nazem Kadri, and he's a player that has something that they don't have in abundance, they replaced it with Michael Bunting, and they're simply going to lose it again. It's bad. It's not great, man. He was a player who had all those qualities and could play on your top line when he wasn't suspended for doing something moronic. Why do we think Michael Bunting flipped his lid so often? Is he just a loose cannon and he's unprofessional? He can't keep it together?
He might be a bit of a loose cannon.
What you
need to kind of be.
Or
somebody's got to be.
What if he absorbed so much attention because he was the only guy on your baby shit, deeply baby shit team willing to say fuck you to anybody? I don't think this is a net positive for the Leafs. They're going to have to replace this guy. And listen, Brad Treliving, lost in the season that the Calgary Flames had. They do have guys and have had guys over the years willing to say fuck you. This guy.
I
think his first trade as Flames GM was to acquire Brandon Bollig. This is a guy who.
Well, how did you describe him in the car yesterday?
Brandon Bollig?
Yeah. I think it was pistol fists.
Oh, yeah, just pistol fists. And yeah. Bang, 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 bang. Just fuck it. Get out of my way.
I liked that description. I thought that was apt.
Bang, 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 bang. And I'm just going to get in the way, and I'm going to be a pain in the ass.
Has anyone ever accused Noah Hannafin or Mackenzie Weegar or any of the forwards they had? So, maybe
he drafted Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get rid of him.
Is Nazem Kadri a tougher guy?
Nazem Kadri. Dude, maybe it's going too far in that direction because he also traded for Milan Lucic.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a bit of I think there were extenuating circumstances with James Neal.
People are going to lose their shit when they sign him.
Lucic?
Can you imagine?
I can. Yeah. It'd be league men, but I can imagine that. Sure.
Remember what I said last year with Wayne Simmons? And you're like, oh, there's no way he plays a game. He's done. It's a long season. Mm-hmm. It's 82 games.
And you know what?
Let's
say you had
guys.
Wouldn't it be great? And Lucic was also, when he was at his best, he was also a guy that could get away with shit. And you'd be like, how does this guy keep getting away with it? But I
don't want them to sign.
As his skill regressed, or at least as the league got faster, maybe his skill didn't regress as much as the league got faster. He didn't get away with it anymore, right? Because he wasn't as good anymore.
No.
But I feel like Milan Lucic at $800,000, okay, then he's not a Leaf, then he's a Marley, whatever. I don't hate that. I don't care.
Here's what the Leafs are losing in Michael Bunting. When someone got in one of their star players' face Matthews, Marner, Nylander, whoever his line mates were that night. Michael Bunting flew in there and wreaked havoc. When Michael Bunting was getting mushed by Boone Jenner and not sticking up for himself because he was trying to be on his best behavior, who came in and said anything to Boone Jenner? Nobody.
Not even Gio this time.
Baby shit. Baby shit.
So you want to see
And this
tougher.
has been a criticism. This is just not baby shit. Braden Point's a nut job. Like, I always bring him up. Like, he's a 90-point guy, 40-goal guy, can flirt with 50 goals and 100 points. He's not afraid of you. I just don't...
What about Kucherov?
Kucherov's, like... I cringe to think what he'd be if he wasn't a professional hockey player. Like, that guy's nuts.
What about Malkin?
I cringe to think what he'd be if he wasn't a professional hockey player. Like,
What about Getzlav and Perry
oh, I know.
at their best?
Imagine Corey Perry never discovering skating.
Corey Perry in customer service.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine.
Why don't you unplug it, you fucking idiot? Thanks. Click.
Yeah, I asked for decaf. This piece of shit, he'd throw it right in your face.
That's what I'm saying.
Friggin' like Rorschach in Watchmen.
That's a reference.
Yes, it certainly is. So, like, listen, I'm not saying get tougher at the expense of
Skill.
no, I'm not going to
Stop qualifying.
I'm not going to tiptoe around it. Next year, this team, no matter who they surround the core with, does fucking nothing if Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares don't throw a punch.
Okay.
Throw a
Jesse,
punch.
do you agree with that?
I feel like we have this conversation a million times.
But do you agree with it?
Bergeron will throw a punch. Pasternak will throw a punch. We know Marchand will throw a punch. Look at Vegas. Every one of those guys.
This is why I think they get
Look at
one more
Florida.
year. Because I think there are still true believers within that organization. And I think next year, we'll know. We already do know, but we'll know with a new general manager. And here's the thing about next year that's important. Marner's got a year left. Tavares has got a year left. And the Tavares piece for me is interesting because that then becomes a movable deal. Because the cap is high, but the money owed is actually very low.
I think it all comes down to what he wants.
It does come down to that.
Like it's got it. Yeah, the money.
But I think if the team looks at him and goes, John, we really do want to move on. Most players will waive.
He doesn't have to.
Oh, come on.
He's got a
don't use the argument of like, well, players have never waived a no trade clause in their life before, then flip it back on me when I say that to you.
Right, but it's not.
They could get him.
It's not a plan. We're just gonna grind this guy until he's got a young family. He grew up here. He wants to be here.
I get that, and I love that. But I think at that kind of money, I think it's too much.
It's possible, but it ain't a plan. It's possible. I might find $1,000 in a bag on the way home.
You might.
I doubt it.
I think that you're being too pessimistic on that. I think that happens all the time. And
Who the fuck do I cheer for, Adam?
Well, fair enough. But I also look at that and go, okay, well, listen, John, you got an opportunity here to go and play for somebody who can, that you can fit in better with, because it's clearly not getting done. And do you not think that these players, like, listen, we're sick of watching the team not succeed in the moments where it should. Do you think the players are feeling any better about it? Because I don't. Wouldn't they get tired eventually?
Yeah.
I kind of think they might already be.
Listen, all I'm saying,
this team wasn't built to do what you're talking about. For those 3 players or 4 players to throw a punch. They were not built that way.
Yeah.
were the Bruins built so that Pasternak would have to throw a punch? He just does.
But they had other. That's one guy. Who are the rest of the core? When Pasternak got there in Boston, Chara,
Yeah.
Bergeron,
Yeah.
Marchand. Who else was there when Pasternak got there?
There's a bunch of tough dudes.
Bunch of face punchers.
Those were cannons.
So you have a big friend.
It comes back down to we're gonna try it again. And Adam, you're already talking about like they try it again next season, it doesn't work, and then Tavares is gone.
Well, I think I think it's Shanahan and then Tavares.
Right. And then Steve, your point of contention before was that you don't believe the board of MLSE will look at Brendan Shanahan if they fail again and let him go.
No.
You think they're going to keep... So it's at the point where it's like, okay, how many times do they have to keep trying this before everybody decides to make a new decision.
I don't know. I don't think they watch hockey.
You think they're happy with the job, and I don't disagree with that necessarily, because we've seen that they're very happy with the way that the entire organization is run, which is also a part of his job. His job is the overseer of MLSE and not just the hockey operations department. So I can definitely see a situation where, hey, they fail again, and then he gets to try it the new regime, the new GM, and the new Brendan, who's also making all of the decisions, gets to try it again.
Maybe it's
without
Brad.
the core four. You know,
So-
I definitely don't disagree with that.
So, you know how I've often said, like, COVID, I think, has made there be less of tomorrow. You know,
Yes.
like, people are willing to make more bold and brash decisions. I'm not willing to waste another year of my life on this core and hoping.
But you're gonna have to.
Sorry, what's your name?
Sit through this.
What's your name?
Slap happy McSad.
No, what's your real
clown.
name? What's your real name?
Steve.
That's not Brendan Shanahan, so it's not up to you.
Yeah.
And I love you. I love you. Say that with love. But
My name would be the same if they trade the core.
The whole Bunting conversation was that it's going to be a net negative because you want the Leafs to be tougher, and then it comes back to the core four making them tougher. And we've seen there's 7 years of evidence that they can't be tougher.
Okay,
So
question.
we're all just crossing our fingers and hoping that somehow they discover a new way to play hockey.
So you know when you see people like square up at a bar and there's like one
What?
really
No.
small person and then they have like a big friend, so they're acting tough because they have a couple of big friends.
Oh, it's the worst.
So
Oh,
if you
yeah.
get the Leafs a couple of big friends that can play hockey, right? We're not talking about career 0-goal players. Can you guys see these 4 guys changing their stripes a little bit and getting a little tougher just naturally?
Yeah, you're asking.
Is it possible?
We talked about last show where you get the guys who make room on the ice. Ken Reed's
Yeah.
favorite word ever. You're asking for those people to make room for Marner and Matthews and JT and Willie.
Oh, let me just go pick one up from Sobeys.
They're easy to find.
No, they're fucking not.
Not the guys who are also in your lineup every day.
Just giving you shit.
Play
Yeah,
in the
no,
playoffs.
I don't know.
Super easy, man.
Sorry, like I don't know. We're going in circles here.
No,
Yeah.
we're not.
But
I want to know what you guys think.
It comes down to I think they have 2 very simple problems, actually.
Give it
this,
to me.
This is the good news. They have 2 very simple problems with not very simple solutions, but they're very simple problems. The core takes up too much of the cap, and even when the cap goes up, they still will. And they're too soft. They're good at regular season hockey. They're great. They're improving at playoff hockey, which that's relevant and important. They made it further this year than they ever have. And ignore that, you know, whatever the circumstances around it. Oh, they got to play, whatever. It doesn't matter. They made it. Florida got to have played in 4 games and against Hurricanes. And they were like, oh, we didn't get swept, despite very getting swept. Right? So I think the core takes up too much and they're too soft.
And at the end of the day, Kyle Dubas couldn't win in Toronto, but he's not here because he's the one who believed in the core and he built the pieces around them who weren't making enough room on the ice. And now that Brad Treliving's in there, Brad Treliving and Brendan Shanahan's eyes, like the 4 eyes that are there now, they might have a little bit of a different perspective on the guys that need to fill out the rest of the roster, because I think we all have to just come to grips that it's going to be the core 4 for at least 1 more year, and that your first issue won't get solved. But the second issue might, because we have 2 new eyes of the 4 eyes on the situation. So maybe Brad Treliving's evaluation of talent and who can play playoff hockey is better than Kyle Dubas's, and the decisions he makes helps the team play better playoff hockey. That's what we're hoping for right now.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's out there. It's okay. Yeah. Brad Treliving is a better talent evaluator for winning in the playoffs than Kyle Dubas is, and we'll see how he does.
He hasn't had a lot of success in Calgary. Here's the one thing.
No second round victories.
Yeah. Here's the one thing that I'm not excited for, but does make some sense to give a try. Dubas had the same core the whole time. Let me redo this, and oh, it didn't work. And let me redo that, and oh, it didn't work. And let me redo that. Brad Treliving gets 1 season with this core to be like, let me try to surround them with some talent. And if you can't do it, all right, that's enough. But I'm perfectly also prepared right now to go, all right, that's enough.
Yeah,
I think
I think a lot of people are with you on that.
he gets that season because after next season the contracts come due.
Yeah.
There's actual money that needs to be moved out. Deadlines make decisions, right? They're fine. You get to year 8, there are actual deadlines with the contracts. That's the reason Bratt signed is Mr. Fitzgerald gave him a hard deadline. It's like, hey, I'm not fucking around with you anymore. If you don't sign this by the time we get to the offseason, the draft, we're going to look to move you.
Imagine that.
I'm going to sign.
Imagine
with
that.
the guys on the Leafs. Next year, it's come due. You're a year out, Mitch Marner from free agency. We can move on. William, you are actually a free agent. Austin, you are an actual free agent. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it, guys. We got a season.
So that means in saying that, it brings us back to the starting point, and this can wrap up the conversation of they have to do well on the Nylander and Matthews contracts. Because if they're moving on from other players going forward, those are two guys you probably want to stick around. And they are the next, when you retool this team. Because I think it's fair to say, hard to believe that this team is going to get it done, given the way it's constructed. I think that's a fair point. You're going to need a couple of guys who can.
16.4 is, by the way, the max contract you can offer under this salary cap. $16.4 million.
Wow.
And if you could argue Treliving's greatest flaw in Calgary, it's that he signed guys to too much for too long.
Which guys? I hate that argument. Don't give me Kadri and Huberdeau on that. That's bullshit.
Dude.
He would have signed Gaudreau and Tkachuk. He was painted into a corner.
And if he signed Tkachuk, he would have been younger at the end of it.
Agreed, but he didn't have a choice. Murray Edwards wouldn't budge on the numbers.
Jesse, can you...
On Gaudreau, he wouldn't budge on...
What do you mean?
Here.
What do you want? You want Mackenzie Weegar?
Is signed till what?
That's a long time.
2030.
Yeah.
It's signed beyond cap-friendly shows.
Yeah,
and
so-
he'll be in his late 30s.
2031 is the Weegar deal.
It's a shitload of guys making a shitload of money into their shitload late to the 30s. They're all going to be making like high-end money until they're older than
Do you want to go through it? Because we are going to the Flames next anyways. This is good.
Sure.
Kadri was a UFA. They needed to replace Gaudreau and Tkachuk.
Okay, fine.
The way to do that, you got Huberdeau in the trade with Weegar, right? They both had a year left on their deals. You had to extend them. Because if you make that trade and you don't extend them, they're walking UFA for nothing. So you've just traded for Huberdeau. Mm-hmm. And he goes, Alan Walsh, he's a noted Walsh client. Sure. I'm sure Alan walked in there and said, here's the number. Because you just traded for him. Otherwise, he's walking next year.
Yeah, outside of those two, who are you talking about?
Dude, none of them in a vacuum are bad.
But out of
those two, who are you talking about?
Because you know the Gaudreau
Blake
situation
Coleman?
had to do with ownership.
Yes, Blake Coleman.
I like Blake Coleman. Isn't that a good contract? Is that not a good contract?
4.9 for 4 more years.
And how old will he be?
35 at the end of it.
Not great.
Okay. All right. What else we got?
Here.
That's the only other contract over 4 years.
Who was the Rangers guy that they signed from that same line? Steve?
That was Coleman.
No. The Rangers guy from that same line. It was
I think you're
from
thinking
Tampa.
of Barclay Goodrow.
Yeah.
Went to the Rangers.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
So what did he get?
6 fucking years.
At what rate?
Under 4.
Okay. It's not great either.
It's not
But
great
that's what the going cost was, right?
Right. No, but Adam, oh dear. Maybe he's perfect for the Leafs because all those situations in a vacuum were fine. It's the accumulation of them.
Yeah, Barclay Goodrow was 6 years at $3.6 million.
Mm-hmm. But Blake, outside of Huberdeau and Kadri, Blake Coleman is the only other 4+ year contract. Rasmus Anderson's 26 and he signed for 3 years. And then all the other contracts are UFAs after next season.
And people are talking about
RFAs.
People were clowning me about the complimenting the Toffoli deal. Who cares that you gave up a first, a fourth, and a fifth for the guy? It's Toffoli, and he's on a great deal, and he scored a ton for you.
And he's UFA after next season. I didn't include Mackenzie Weegar because we already touched on that. But I guess the Mackenzie Weegar, those are the 3 contracts. But it's not as bad as it seems.
Check out Markstrom.
Markstrom signed 3 more years, $6 million.
And he'll be 36. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I don't think it's as bad as we thought it was.
It's not it ain't great either.
Speaking of,
But
I want to do a shout
what
out.
team doesn't have like 2 contracts of a 35-year-old?
I want to do a big shout out to Katie Strang, Julian McKenzie, and Haley Salvian. Since we're talking about the Flames, they have a full deep dive into what went wrong with Daryll Sutter this time around in Calgary. And One of the things that I had kind of forgotten is some of his time with the Kings. According to them, the Kings players put a garbage can in front of the locker room door to keep Sutter out of a players-only meeting. Former Kings player Daniel Carcillo said that Sutter verbally abused players and mistreated them. And on his Twitter account, Carcillo recalled Sutter prohibiting players from eating on the team plane after a bad loss and telling a female flight attendant to fuck off when she didn't roll the food away fast enough. Carcillo said he also saw Sutter kick a player. Now, the kick a player thing is interesting. Sutter has denied those allegations, but there was an investigation that I actually personally knew about too. Several other people talked about, it was like open in hockey circles that the Flames were investigating the same thing. And Julian and of course Sutter has denied it, but in November there was an incident where he was alleged to have made physical contact with a player on the bench during the game. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows the outcome of that, except for the fact that the player in question thought that it wasn't big enough of a deal to escalate it. Didn't want it to become a distraction.
And that's that player's prerogative, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like if the player didn't want to escalate it, then I don't know. What can you really do with it?
They also go on to talk about how he was, he had an aversion to deploying young players. So Jacob Pelletier and Matthew Coronado were healthy scratches down the line. And in the third round of the shootout, Sutter left Tyler Toffoli, the team's leading scorer, on the bench and put Lindholm out there, and he sent out Nick Ritchie. And that game changed everything, right? That was one of the big games.
Said it had no bearing on the game.
That's right. So I just thought I want to give them a shout out because that article was bonkers. Like
It's pretty good.
good deep read. Now, Steve, I want to make you angry.
Sure. I read this morning as well.
Well, I'm moving on from that article, but I think you should read it, especially as a Flames fan. But I want to talk about Jesper Bratt. And I want to talk about the fact that his number is in the actual.
Man, people, I only know one language. I only know English.
Okay.
And when I speak it plainly, sometimes I feel like I don't know how to use it.
Okay. Why?
Like, because no one seems to understand my hatred of jersey numbers being in contract.
And what is it? Explain it now.
So Crosby making 8.7, I don't give a shit. And also it was a discount. Bratt's contract,
Which is, by the way, 8 years, $7.875 million per year at $63 million.
7.875 is a great damn deal.
For Jesper Bratt.
It is a great damn deal, but it adds up to 63 million. Ooh, that's his number, right? Reimer had a $3.4 million contract with the Panthers. Bozak had a $4.2 million contract with the Leafs.
Yes, he did.
I think it's not about your jersey number, because all those situations that I just mentioned, their jersey number fell roughly in place with their actual value.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, your jersey number's in there, but that's roughly what your actual value is. Fine. It's a relatively fair deal, and it happens to be your jersey number. What I hated, using Austin Matthews as the example, and I cannot believe people don't get this point. Mm-hmm. His contract, when it was signed, it's no longer listed as this on Cap Friendly because the cap hit went up because they made some adjustment. I don't remember what it was. Him and Marner, their cap hits went up. Don't remember what. Mm-hmm. I think Willie's too. I'm not sure. When he signed it, it was 11.634.
Yes.
The 3.4 is relevant because if you sign a contract, if Matthew signs a contract for $11.6 million, that's roughly what he's worth. If he signs it for $11.7 million, it's roughly what he's worth. But he signed for 11.34 or 11.634. That $34,000 is an amount of money he will never miss. If he signed for 11.6, he still would have made over, I think it was 99.7% of his salary, but he needed that $34,000. And the reason it pisses me off is it's not about the $34,000. It's about power. It's about power and saying I won this deal and I could ask for whatever I want. And Mitch Marner did the same thing. 11 10.893. Now, someone cleverly said, now what if Mitch was giving a discount?
What if he dropped below it to get in the 9.3? He actually saved the Leafs $7,000.
I'll shave off $7,000, like just to get that in there. Fine.
Yep.
You know what? Maybe it's possible. But what is more likely, that Matthews went from 11.6 up to 11.634 or down from 11.7 to now? If someone comes out and says that's how it worked, I'll be the first person to come on here and be like, team player, good on you. But it's 11.634, and that $34,000 is the sort of thing that gets a Marley sent down. You know, Steve, why are you cheering for a player to make less so that this multi-billion-dollar team? How about the fucking guy in the minors making $70,000 who has to get sent down because of all the cap shenanigans that the Leafs have had to pull over the last few years?
The fact that they can't dress a goalie because they want to get Matt Nye signed.
Yeah.
How about the fact that they've had to, sign a university goalie and pay him a per diem of like $250 and get him a free jersey or whatever? How about your starting goalie who's playing injured down the stretch for 4 fucking games? Was it 4? 3 or 4?
Yep.
Games where the Leafs had to sign a emergency backup, and you're a hair away. You're a slip away. You're a side to side 2-on-1 save away. You're a net front battle away. You're a stubbing your toe on the edge of your bed away from having no professional goalie in your organization. You know what could have potentially saved that? Not needing your fucking jersey number in your contract.
Now, what they would say to that is that's not our fault. That's Dubas's fault. Maybe he shouldn't run it up against the cap so much.
Well,
I mean, yeah. See, the thing is that it's not the $63 million for Jesper Bratt. I mean, that's cool that it added up to him, and that works, and that's a great deal. But you're right. The extra little bit on the end does actually make a difference. And anybody saying that doesn't, when you're running up against the cap, everything makes a difference.
That 93 plus 34 is over $100,000.
Yeah.
That every single year the Leafs don't have to play with. And when they're playing with every single dollar, $100,000+ means something.
Well, and especially around the trade deadline when those numbers multiply, right? Because it's not just flat the whole year, right? Like there's a reason why you can't bring in a $7 million guy at the beginning of the season, but all of a sudden you can bring him in unretained at the trade deadline. It's because there's only so much left, and it's a complicated thing. But at the end of the day, it does make a difference over the course of the year.
And someone very rightly pointed out, well, what about Roman Josi with his new contract, which I think is $9,059,000 because he wears the number 59. Also fucking stupid. Also fucking stupid. It's across the board.
It's pretty stupid.
But you know what
it is an odd thing to want.
It is an odd thing.
I mean, I didn't hate it at first, but now that the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah,
that's $59,000 that doesn't go to somebody else. Or that's $59,000 that your team now doesn't have the room to play with just because you want to do a funny thing in your contract.
And what do we think? He came down from 9.1? Stop.
No.
Stop. So what are we doing here?
It's a $9 million deal, and you decided to tack on $59,000 to fuck with people.
Because of what? Dude, and you know what? You know what the Nashville Predators did not have to do? Play with some fucking random on the bench. Backing up UC Soros while they're trying to fight for their playoff lives.
Hey, Jet Alexander got ice time. Earned it.
Yeah, and then people got mad about it.
Yeah, Chris Weidman.
Me.
They'll get what they do.
I cannot believe I have to explain this.
The Senators are going to arbitration with Alex DeBrincat, it looks like. Timo Meier will be going to arbitration with the Devils. Both of these guys...
Formalities.
You can
because no one actually ever goes to arbitration, but they're filed.
Yeah, you need to file it to maintain the player's rights.
Both of those guys are expected to come in. If you ask DeBrincat, he's expecting $9 million. Timo Meier's, I think, qualifying offer is at least $9 million, isn't it? Or is it $8?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's high,
crazy high. I think it was $9. My question to you is, who do you think signs first and therefore sets the market? Because these two guys, I think, are the market-setting guys, are they not? On the wing in the RFA realm?
They are. It's interesting. They're two...
10 mil.
10 mil is Timo Meyer's
Timo
QO?
Meyer's qualifying offer.
I would
$10
just
million.
take it. Just take the
Timo Meyer, I think, gets moved. Somebody buys his rights, and then they sign him to a long-term deal.
Well, okay, so here's something to consider. So we keep saying with the Leafs and everything, and with anyone whose contract is expiring, sign short term, wait for the cap to go up, and then sign long term. Is Timo Meier not completely perfectly positioned for this cap situation?
Yep.
Sign your qualifying offer, or which I guess isn't available to you because of arbitration, but take the 1-year deal and then cash in.
2 years, I would say.
Where's this energy? It's everyone's like, oh, Matthews would be Travis Yost. Oh, Matthews would be an idiot to sign an 8-year contract. You know what, Devils fans? I'm sorry. I'm going to throw that on Timo Meier. Take the 1-year deal, Slay King. Get yours.
If I were him, I might.
Old deep pockets, Timo. Let's go. You know what? Now I'm cheering for the player. Get everything you're worth, Timo. Let's go.
The 2-year makes
Come
a little
on,
bit
Alex.
more sense than the 1 year.
Yep.
Probably do the 2-year deal.
If you're Timo?
Yeah. But the Jesper Back contract's interesting because Tom Fitzgerald's whole mentality about that was let's get him in under Jack Hughes, which was the 8. And they did that successfully, and it leaves them a little bit more room to where, hey, if we can negotiate with Timo Meier and get him out of a bit of a discount on a very short-term deal like you're talking about, there might be an opportunity here for him to come back to the Devils.
It really does make a difference when you get your best player, and Jack Hughes is going to be their best player if he's not already. I think he's their best player, but it really does make a difference when that first contract from a team perspective does come in at a good number. Like the Nick, look at the Nick Suzuki contract and how that's helped the Canadians.
Makes me sick.
Right? It does make a difference because it's like, oh, you think you're worth more than that, huh? You think you're worth more than Nick Suzuki? Oh, you think you're worth more than Jack Hughes?
No.
That's nice. Not on this team.
And the pro player crowd was like, oh, I wish he signed for more.
I am a pro player.
Can I read you?
You were sad for him, right? you were beaten up
sad
about
for
it?
him, but I want them to make what they can.
Can I read you a quote from Tom Fitzgerald?
Hit me, Jesse. Hit me.
Steve, I hope this really grinds your gears. Thank you, Eric.
You hope?
On Twitter, who
It will.
alerted me to this amazing quote. Tom Fitzgerald, after Jesper Bratt signed. If every player takes every crumb they can get, there's not enough money there.
He's right. Like, dude, I'm pro worker, pro union, all those, things that people call me a Trudeau cuck for or whatever. But it's a triple hard cap.
Yeah.
It's a triple hard cap. There's a salary goddamn cap. And if you want your team to win, you lay your head on your pillow at night and you hope and pray that every team or every player on your team is willing to take an 8-year league min deal.
Bill Spalding on Twitter went on to explain more about what Tom Fitzgerald said. The quote was, if every player takes every crumb they can get, there's not enough money there. Said he had good discussions with Bratt about team building, and Bratt and the other top players understand they need money on the table for depth pieces.
How?
Sounds like opposite Toronto.
Okay, cool. You want to go? You want to go real tinfoil hat?
Let's go.
You want to go real tinfoil hat? Toronto, the team where all the star players took every crumb. And every suspension that comes in, you're like, that was a little long. And every penalty that wasn't called or was called, every Wes McCauley game where, oh man, they haven't won. And no, that's not a thing before promptly officiating a game where they get no penalties somehow. What if the league really, 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 really wanted the Leafs to lose? Especially when it mattered most.
Why?
Because all their players took every crumb. This league and its leadership they want good little boys. They want good little boys, good little team players who are going to take. I said tinfoil hat, didn't I?
Yeah,
They want good little boys who are going to sign for as little as possible, for as long as possible, because rah team. Let's go, my team. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave money on the table so I can win.
Okay, let's qualify this. this gets to exist outside of the canon of the SDP. Let's roll.
Yeah, this is legend. This is a legend, not canon.
A character died, but he's gonna come back next episode.
Yeah.
Like this isn't canon. Okay.
It's Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny from South Park.
Yeah, this isn't a real.
He died. He's back.
This isn't canon because I wanted. This is fun. Let's do that because I think you're right in the terms of the other general managers look at that situation that's happening in Toronto,
And I'm gonna claim that guy off waivers. I'm gonna fuck him.
They say, I have Tom Fitzgerald sitting there. I have this brat deal to sign this offseason. If Toronto goes out and does this with Matthews making the max and Willie and Marner, all them taking all this money, that hurts my negotiations. They're probably all sitting there rooting against the Leafs.
There's a comedian that I saw recently that said, "You don't believe any conspiracy theories?
Stop.
You think everyone tells you all the truth?
Oh, no.
Listen, I don't believe in most of them, but this is one I can get behind."
Yeah?
There's a fantasy football podcast I listen to, and every year they do a episode that they call the Take Purge. So it's like the Purge, where one episode we get to just throw out things that you don't really believe, but like it could be true. And then next episode, we wipe our hands of it clean. And those things aren't really true. And I think right there, that's a great take purge.
Dude, you're the leadership of the National Hockey League.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you want the Leafs to succeed?
Because it's
a fucking huge revenue generator.
But this specific form of them, where every player took every crumb.
Yeah.
Why would you want them to succeed?
Oh, God.
So, Adam,
Sign
the
for as
ratings
much
came
as
out.
you want, and everything will work out.
The ratings came out for the Stanley Cup.
Bullshit.
The ratings came out for the Stanley Cup final. The Leafs versus Tampa did more than the Stanley Cup final.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
That's the least watched Stanley Cup final since 2000.
We're rooting for the Leafs, yeah, because the TV ratings and ad revenues will go up as the Leafs are in the finals and all that. No, they don't care about that stuff. They care about their teams and them winning. It's all about your individual team and you getting your name on the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Because of shit if the ratings are better if the Leafs win. They're looking at it as, hey, that team can't win because that's bad for the game. No. All 31 teams are rooting against the Leafs for the last 7 years.
I converted you. Welcome to the Tinfoil Hat Club.
Yep.
No, listen. I won't make any claim. I will simply leave you with a question, which is what all conspiracy theorists do, by the way.
Right, of course. I love this.
They just ask you questions that they don't know the answer to, and neither do you. Why would you want the team with all their star players who took every crumb to win?
Okay, so moving
You
on.
run the league. Why would you want that?
Moving on to, I want to talk about expansion very quickly.
Adam, debate me.
Actually, no. Before we talk expansion, one last thing on the Flames. I didn't put my notes together properly this morning. Jerome Iginla is joining the Calgary Flames.
Forced into it.
Forced into hirement.
I like that. Julian McKenzie, a big shout out to him. He tweeted this on May 21st, something that has come across my mind over the weekend. If the Flames ever wanted to have Jerome Iginla in their organization while he deals with his other commitments, maybe having him as a special advisor would work. And look at that. He is a special advisor to his buddy Craig Conroy. And he said there was some business that they've been trying to get done for 20 years. They haven't got done yet. And I was like, yeah, if I was a Flames fan, I'd be jacked as shit hearing that from Iggy. Come on, let's go.
It's good to be in a good mood.
Hey, happy Pride, listeners. We celebrate Pride here at SDPN because we believe that sports are only fun if everyone is welcome. We're also really excited to share that we are once again working with our good friends at the Get Real movement, and we're joining their fundraising efforts by joining a virtual 5K on June 23rd. The money we raise will be going to Rainbow Railroad. Their mission is to help LGBTQI+ people escape state-sponsored violence. It's an extremely important cause, and we've got a link in the description below. Please check it out and support if you can. And stay tuned as we continue to celebrate Pride Month. We're just getting started.
John LeClair is also joining the Philadelphia Flyers as a special assistant, and I have a question. And we've met John at the Eric Lindros tournament. Really nice guy.
Yes.
Is this a case of the Flyers collecting more legends to clog up their front office, kind of like what Steve does with his dolls in his blue room? Or do you believe that John LeClair can actually help them get better? When Eric was in, I got the sense that Eric Lindros was fired up about the Flyers, and I'm still surprised he hasn't joined.
Well, so they're close friends. I can tell you that much. Like, I haven't spoken to Eric. I haven't spoken to Eric since John LeClair signed. But like they're very close friends. And here's a story that's relevant because, like, listen, I can't tell you how John LeClair is as an executive. I have no idea, right? But here's what I can tell you, and this tells you a lot about John LeClair, and this tells you a lot about his friendship with Eric Lindros. Every year for the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic in support of Easter Seals, LeClair, and Eric told the story on the show, I think, LeClair drives to Toronto.
Yep.
From, I don't know if he lives in Philadelphia or just outside. He lives in Pennsylvania, something like that.
Argentina.
You drive, well, that's even further.
That's a really tough drive, but it's doable.
It's possible.
I looked at a map. That's far. So every year he drives however long that is, 8 hours, 16 hours round trip, to take part in this charity hockey tournament to play with very, very, very bad bums like me.
Yep.
And also, I mean, most of the skaters are better than me, but including very, very, very bad bums like me. And he always takes time to take as many pictures as possible, sign as many autographs as possible. So listen, if you want my opinion on him as a hockey executive, I can't provide it to you. I don't know anything about it. You know, he played in the league for a long time. He has a borderline Hockey Hall of Fame career. There's a small contingent of guys who do the era adjusted stats who argue he actually should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame because of the numbers he put up in the years that he played in. I think he won a cup with Montreal.
Yep.
I don't remember. I can tell you, really good guy. So, like, personally, I'm cheering for him. Flyers fans who have watched this podcast know there hasn't been much with the Philadelphia Flyers that I've rooted for in recent memory. That's something I can root for.
I'm rooting for them to trade Travis Konechny to the Leafs.
I'm also rooting for that.
Jesse, do you think this is a case of the Flyers actually getting better or clogging up their front office with more legendary pieces that look like statues?
Did you write that down?
That is my. That is not. I wrote the first one down.
LeClair,
second one I made up.
Built friggin' Ford tough too.
Yeah.
Ask it one more time.
Just fucking answer the question.
No, ask the question.
Jesse, I'm going to make this complicated.
Yeah.
Is this a case of the Flyers actually getting better, or are they clogging up their front office with more legend traffic?
I think I trust Daniel Briere. When he was up for the job in Montreal, I thought he would have been a great hire, and he's somebody who's long overdue to be in a position of general manager. I think if they're bringing in LeClair and Sharp, that it was vetted through Briere and that he's going to make the right decisions in this. You know, if that's what he thinks needs to be done to the front office, we got to get some other voices in here. I know he's an ex-Flyer and it looks like you're doing the old stuff again, but I trust Daniel Briere in his decision making.
We often criticize teams for just hiring former players, and there's validity to that. But that it also doesn't mean former players don't know hockey at all. You know what I mean? And can't be good executives. And I will say this. I didn't like Chuck Fletcher as a general manager long before he became GM of the Flyers.
Oh, that goes way back.
So he had a resume of failure, frankly. Like, he had a resume of mediocrity and a resume of not doing the right thing necessarily. And then he got to Philadelphia and really dug into that. Like, he made some. I went in skeptical, and every move he made me more skeptical. Danny Briere has made one trade since joining the Flyers, and it was a home run.
The Provorov deal.
On paper, it was a home run. Like, if you're a rebuilding team, whew, that's a good deal, man. We don't know how Cal Peterson is going to rebound, but he got a roster player.
More money.
More money. He got
Draft picks.
Draft capital. Like, so you're looking for reasons to trust or distrust Danny Briere's judgment with this whole hockey thing. And I mean, based on the first move, I trust his judgment.
Ethan Bear will be out 6 months with a shoulder injury that he suffered at the IIHF World Championships. My question to you is, does this help Vancouver get under the cap for next year? Because they're already over.
I didn't even think of that. So here's the thing. First of all, I think you're correct. But second of all, it does nothing to help the Vancouver Canucks because they have aspirations of being better and making the playoffs. And Ethan
No, if you ask them, they think they already are.
Well,
they just got better by not playing.
And Ethan Bear being injured, that's bad, man. It's no good for that right side, especially when they have aspirations of getting rid of Tyler Myers, right? You're going to need good players back there. Ethan Bear's a good player, and now they're down one. It's bad.
Last question before a press conference, if we've been doing one. Are we doing a press conference or are we?
Yeah, sure. I got a video to play.
Jesse and Steve, answer quick. What's your bet as the next expansion city? Just one. Just pick one. What do you think most likely?
Atlanta.
I think Atlanta because
Seems obvious a little bit, right?
Well, we saw with the Sens, Gary likes the devil he knows over the devil he doesn't. So I thought of Utah. I thought about an excited owner who was excited to acquire an NHL team. And I was like, oh, that's just Jim Balsillie. So I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Okay. I'm going to throw one in there for you guys that you haven't considered yet. San Diego. Mm-hmm. Stan Kroenke's, who Stan owns he owns the Avalanche among other
Avalanche, Rams, and Denver Nuggets.
That's right.
And plus, I forget which soccer team in Europe.
He's also married into the Walton family, famously of Walmart. Oh. Walmart. His real estate company is the reason that Walmart's been so successful and the reason he's been so successful. He would build the Walmarts. Walmart would Walmart the Walmarts, and they've been very successful at that. And he has taken over a new arena project in San Diego. It will be called Midway Rising, 16,000-seat arena, thousands of new housing units, a hotel, retail space, and the ability to house an NBA or an NHL team. Could open as soon as 2025.
Can I ask an ignorant question?
I think that's most questions on this show anyway.
Right.
You don't have to ask that.
So, well, it's just you seem to have more knowledge of the States than I do. And also you've been to Arizona and everything. So the reason the NHL really wants to hold on to Arizona, or a big part of the reason, is the television.
It was the television rights. I'm not sure it matters so much anymore because that was like a localized thing and local TV's dying.
Right. So, well, I'm just looking at a map. And San Jose, LA, Anaheim, San Diego, and then you add in Vegas. Mm-hmm. I mean, they all seem pretty close together, like relatively speaking.
Yeah, but that doesn't get the owners the $1 billion franchise tag that they want.
Right.
Which doesn't go to the players, by the way.
No.
Only owners get that. So I think that I don't think Stan Kroenke is going to put a new team there. But I think if there's billionaires, and there are, who would be willing to pay for this, I think there's a team going to San Diego in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting. And
it's a great market.
I didn't realize it's right on the border.
Yeah.
Too,
yeah. One thing,
pretty much.
It's a great city.
One thing they also have as an option is, I heard discussed, if the Arizona situation can't be solved, they move the Coyotes to San Diego in the meantime, and then an expansion franchise goes back to Arizona.
I mean, if they played where the Gulls play, the San Diego Gulls, would it be a bigger arena?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course it would.
Maybe.
They could have just done that now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this new arena that's being built.
Right.
Yeah. So it would be a very good arena.
It would be very, very interesting to see what happens here. And really, San Diego lost its NFL team because it couldn't get a new stadium deal done. I think that they realize it's a military town, but it's also a tech hub, as a lot of California is. And it's a
great market.
It's a gorgeous place to live. Like, if you're a bazillionaire living in San Diego, amazing. So I think San Diego has decided, well, we got to compete with some of these bigger cities. We got to get some arenas in here. And I think they're going to get a football team back there too.
It's one of the biggest regrets for my wife and I for our honeymoon. We did California and it was awesome, but we didn't go down to San Diego.
Ah,
yeah.
Well, that's too bad. Let's get into the press conference. Can we do it?
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle press conference.
Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to say before we get into the press conference, Adam, can you check your Twitter mentions?
You said debate me, coward. Why
Yeah.
did you say debate?
Because I'm a conspiracy theorist now. And that's what I say to
We should have a conspiracy theory debate, like a 1v1 Dangle.
Yeah, 1v1.
and then have different members of the network debate different things.
Yeah.
And like you go against CJ like with one NHL conspiracy theory.
Debate me, 1v1 me.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
1v1
NHL
brought to you by SDPN.
The NHL wants the Leafs to lose because all their players make a lot of money. Debate me.
Jesse, go ahead.
With the expansion talk, there was also rumors that Houston would cause a little bit of trouble unless the Rockets owner was also involved in the deal because of the arena situation down there. So he apparently needs to be in on the expansion franchise, or they would have trouble getting one there. But that's also a market that is definitely going to have a team in the next, 10 years. They're going to have 34 NHL teams. And
Sure sounds like it.
it's going to be Houston, Atlanta, some sort of San Diego. Maybe we'll get to 36. Who knows?
I'd like that.
That's a lot of damn teams.
I like that. But you're going to have to extend the playoffs at that point. You can't have 16 teams
You
make
could
it.
definitely justify it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a 20-team playoff makes
then
sense.
it's like, okay, we need this play-in tournament thing,
I would love that.
I
Oh,
think
that'd be sexy.
you'd have to get Gary around on those issues.
Come on,
but
Gary.
Expansion's coming. It's coming, people. All right. Mark Hudak on Twitter accepted our, hey, ask your partner if you're a Riz God challenge that the SDP started.
Yes.
And Mark's situation's a little particular because his wife is 8 months pregnant. And he bothered her with this terrible question, Mike. So,
Oh my God, you're going to send her to labor.
Adam, what did you do? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Go.
Okay.
I was bringing up another one that I got. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's go.
Nice carpet. It's very lush.
A lot of breathing.
Hey, babe. Cap or no cap? Am I a Riz God for real?
She's so mad at him.
What?
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's amazing.
All that's going through her head.
What?
All that's going through her head is, I got to raise a kid with this.
Can I marry this
I gotta
person?
Oh my god.
All right, well, listen.
Sending them in.
It's been a spicy week, so we hope that you had a fun time. We sure did. And we will see you Monday. And don't forget to check out the CJ show because it was an absolute banger. There's a lot of info in there for Flames fans as well. And as the weeks unfold, buyout window, by the way, is open. As of right now, nobody's on waivers, but
I don't know who gets bought out, but all I can tell you is that the Leafs are going to get screwed by it. Debate me! Debate me!
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.